Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Lena. Welcome back to another video. So today we will be talking about underrated books, which is my favorite topic to talk about. And that's it. I love to find like kind of hidden gems, underrated books. I just love that. Every time that I see that a book does not have like a good amount of ratings, I'm just like, let me see. So I have here, I think like 11 or 12 of these books, and they are a mix of fantasy and science fiction. I don't think I have any like murder mystery or historical fiction here. Let's just get started. The first one is going to be the Sword Defiant, which is the book that inspired this video because the sequel is coming out this month and I'm extremely excited. This is a dark fantasy by Gareth Hanrahan, which is the author of The Gutter Prayer. That's probably why it sounded familiar. But in here, we're going to follow the story of 10 heroes. They assembled and they defeated the Dark Lord using his weapons, basically. Now, several years later, maybe something is cooking out there. Something evil is starting up again. So we're going to follow one of the knights as he tries to assemble these heroes once again. But maybe this time the heroes might be the monsters that he's trying to fight. It's just super cool, honestly. I just liked it so much. It gave me a very similar vibe to the Maleficent 7. So, Maleficent. Is Maleficent, right? The one that I like? Now I'm confused. The original one. Not the one by Sebastian de Castell. The Maleficent 7. So it gave me like similar vibes to that because each character here is like very distinct from one another. The heroes and we have a lot of dark things here. I'm not going to say anything else, but a lot of dark creatures in very creepy towns. So I highly recommend this one. I really liked it and I cannot wait to read the sequel, honestly. I already have a pre-order because it was just so cool. Then, of course, I wouldn't say that this is actually underrated because this author is widely loved right now, but still, just read this one. This is Blood Over Bright Heaven by Mo1. This is the same author as The Sword of Cagayan over here, which I adore. And of course, this book wasn't less. It was still so good, dude. This was picked by a publisher and it will be published in hardback in not too long. This year, definitely in the summer, if I'm not mistaken. So be sure to check that out, but this book is great, honestly. So firstly, in here, we're going to follow Siona. Siona is the first woman mage to ever exist, basically, in this industrial town where magic is basically pretty much like industrial, keeps the city going. So she has a lot to prove because of course her colleagues do not respect her just out of the fact that she is a woman. But then she finds out something that maybe something is not right with this town, you know? We're also going to follow Thomil, and the thing is, he used to live outside the city. But outside this city, a weird phenomenon occurs, and this wild magic appears out of nowhere and kills you if it touches you. So they were forced to flee into the city, and that cost the life of most of his tribe. But now he's forced to work in this town, in the suburbs. This book is fantastic, honestly. It has so much social commentary. I just love it so much. It's fantastic. Mo1 is my favorite author along with Ken Liu. They are both fucking incredible, so cannot recommend this one enough. Oh, I lied. I have one that is not fantasy. Well, it's mostly like horror. So this is I Fed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me. I read this last year and I was so surprised by it. I mean, I love the cover. The cover is fantastic. It's what made me buy the book, honestly, along with the title, because I think it's fantastic. This is also part 1. I thought it was a standalone, but a sequel is coming out this year in October, if I'm not mistaken. So in here, we're going to follow a ballerina. And her dream has always to become like the #1, the greatest dancer. And one day she stumbled across this woman in this group, and this woman introduces her to this river of blood so she can actually ask for a wish, and maybe there are some consequences for that. It's really cool. I really like it. I will not tell you much since this is mostly like horror mystery, but honestly I really like it. If you're looking for like a cool ride, because we are going to follow someone turning into a villain here, I highly recommend it. I really enjoyed it. Then we have here Symbiosis. This is extremely underrated. This is only published in Spanish. But in here, we're going to be set on a world where we are aware that aliens exist and they are actually living among us and inside us. We all have like a parasite inside of us, and we share like the same body because they cannot exist outside, but they basically make us better. So one of the details that I love of this book is that names here are made out of a part of the alien and a part of the human, which is great. But the main plot of this book is that someone is actually murdering humans that do not have an alien. So what the hell is going on? And honestly, I love this so much. This is the only book that I've been reading in Spanish that I've actually loved, because I've been reading for years sci-fi books reading originally in Spanish, and they were all fucking awful. They were so bad that now I'm scared of buying more, honestly. But this saved it. It was also one of my favorite books from last year. It was fantastic. I love it. If you only read in English, I'm sorry. You will not be able to get it. At least not for now. But if you're a Spanish reader, check this one out. It's fantastic. Then I have here a little bit of a weird recommendation, because I don't think this book is fantastic, but I think it's weird enough that some people might like it. This is We Have Always Been Here, which follows this psychologist, basically, as she is tasked with observing and helping this crew that is going into this ice planet. They are suddenly not allowed to leave the ship, so they are starting to be a little bit paranoid. They're seeing things, they're having nightmares, and maybe something weird is going on. The premise is fantastic. I do have to say that it wasn't my favorite book, but at the same time, I was really intrigued by it. I give it like 3.5 stars, but the truth is, I kind of really want to reread it, honestly, because I wasn't like that into it the first time that I did it, but now I'm curious again. Also, the premise it's just so cool, dude. The premise is just so cool. But yeah, maybe this one is for you. I don't think it's the best one, but it's definitely curious. Like, curiousness is here. So two that I don't have physically. One is another sci-fi. This is Paradise 1. This is a sci-fi horror, and honestly, this is the only sci-fi horror that I actually really loved last year, which is a bit on the unpopular opinion side, because a lot of people thought that this book was too long. But my main problem with a lot of the sci-fi books lately is that they are really short, especially the horror ones. They're just like 200 pages, 300 pages. This is 600 pages, okay? And I just love to explore the horror. I love that we have multiple stages of horror and paranoia and mystery, and I just love that. In here, we're going to follow a woman, and she wakes up and she's the only one alive in her ship, but they have certainly reached their destination, so what's wrong? Not going to say anything else. I just really liked it, honestly. I gave it 4.5, so for me it was really cool, but a lot of my like fellow reviewers didn't like it as much. I still really did, honestly, so what can I say? But this is also the first book on a series, so it will be continuing shortly. And maybe if you hate cliffhangers, do not read this one yet and just wait for the sequel to come out, because it has one of the hugest cliffhangers that I've seen in a long time, and it made me a little bit mad, to be honest, but still, I really enjoyed it, so I went past that. But it was fucking annoying as hell. The first time that I read it, I was just like, how fucking dare you? But still, really cool, highly recommended. The other one is The Burning Land. The thing is, this is the same author as the Moontide Quartet, which, if you've been here a while, you know that I have a very complicated relationship with the Moontide Quartet. Loved the first two books, hated book 3 with a passion, and was okay with book 4. But because I was so disappointed with book 3, book 4 didn't reach that level of excitement. But still, Scarlet Eyes book 2 is one of my favorite books. It's just so cool, dude. It's just great, big fantasy. So in here, we are set on a different world, basically. And it's kind of weird, but at the same time, I will recommend it to you. I think I give this one 3.5 also because some parts were not really for me. And this one turned into a little bit of a trouble story because in here we're going to follow a group of knights. And they are in this holy crusade against this other continent, basically. Well, against this other country, they're another kingdom. And they are fighting them with this power that they get through prayer, basically, and through the gathering of prayers? What's the word? Well, they have a crowd and they all pray together, and now the weapons are ready to be used, basically, with holy power. And then we have these enemies that actually harness this power and they turn into mindless beasts. It's super cool, but the thing is, I feel like that's only the surface level of the story, because of course we find out that something might be wrong and some of these knights are falsely accused of heresy and they are persecuted and they have to flee and find out what the hell happens with these powers. It's kind of cool, but at the same time, some things were a little bit, especially some relationships, I just wasn't on board with them. But still, the concept is quite interesting, so I will still recommend it to you. Then this one I feel like is hugely underrated, but this is The Art of Prophecy, which has the best covers. Honestly, I still need to read book 2, but I was so surprised by book 1, basically. I talked about this one not that long ago, but the thing is, in here we have this prophesized hero. He's been trained his whole life to be this hugely well-known hero that will defeat this evil lord. But when they have this show, we have this super cool warrior that comes in and she's just like, well, he seems like a fucking idiot who is definitely not ready to save the world. So she comes into an agreement with him to train him. And the thing is, let me warn you, that's only the first half of the book. The second half is very different, but still, I will definitely give this one a try. I feel like it's so underrated. I just love it. And the main character is a badass. I just love her so much. Then, which I feel is the most underrated book in the Warhammer universe, this is the Nightlords trilogy. This follows the Marines that were tainted by the chaos, basically, which turns them kind of evil. And I just fucking love that. I loved following the bad guys. I was just so excited to follow these ones because I feel like we always like follow the lesser evil ones because no one is good in the Warhammer universe. No one. Absolutely no one. So I loved following this one. This is my favorite trilogy for now, my favorite omnibus, because I have like 4 or 5 already. It's great. It's great, honestly. Just like, if you want to read Warhammer, do not start by this book. But still, if you have already started, just read this book. Then coming out to the last 3, we have Legacy of Ash. So, this is quite interesting. This is a multi-POV fantasy story, pretty dark. It has like some dark elements, even though I wouldn't consider it dark fantasy. So in here we're going to be set on the Thracian Empire. And the thing is, they are kind of being attacked by another empire. We have like the son and the daughter of a fallen general that was accused of treachery, and now they are being not kidnapped, but they have been taken as hostages in the capital, basically to keep the rebels at bay after so many years. But we also have this knight, basically, that is trying to do the right thing, even though he definitely has something dark and evil inside of him. Honestly, I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't like mind-blowing, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I have book 2, Legacy of Steel, over there, and I will be reading it soon. Then another sci-fi, this is Blighted Stars by Megan O'Keefe. This is the same author as Velocity Weapon, which is a trilogy that I loved, The Protectorate. And this is her new series. Book 3 is coming out this year, but this is also sci-fi horror. And I think this was fantastic. It has like some memory plays, it has like some horror plays. We have a lot of things here. We mainly follow 2 POVs. One is Naida, who is being kind of secretly been implanted into the body of this bodyguard to this heir to this like huge and powerful family. And she was trying to destroy this facility and this mineral. And then we're going to follow the heir, who is actually a geology student who is trying to find out why his family has this huge interest in this mineral / this planet, and they are suddenly crash into this planet and they have to survive. It's great. I know that I didn't explain it particularly well, but it's actually really good, and I highly recommend this one if you like hostile planets. And then the last one is going to be Soulkeeper. I read this last year. I binge read the whole series. I really liked it. I think I talked about this one not that long ago, but this is thoroughly underrated, honestly. In here we're going to follow two siblings. The first one we're going to follow is Devin. He's a Soulkeeper. He basically goes from town to town, helping, killing monsters, healing people. He has this type of magic. And one day he comes across this village who was flooded, and now some kind of zombies out there. So definitely something is going very, very wrong in this kingdom. We're also going to follow his sister. She lives in the capital of this empire, and she is also this healer. But she gets involved in this conspiracy in the town with this weird magic. I love this series. I thought it was very enjoyable. I really like the second and third books. I thought they were super enjoyable, honestly. So if you like a little bit of fantasy with a dark touch, not really that dark, but definitely some dark scenes here. So check it out. So yeah, those are all the books that I have here to recommend it to you. Do you have any underrated recommendations? Have you read any of these books? Did you like them? Did you hate them? Just let me know in the comments below. And as always, I will see you on the next one. Bye.